Part two of our Europe 2026 trip was when we were on the Costa Smeralda, sailing around Tunisia, Italy, France, and we left from Barcelona. So when we got on the cruise, we went up to our rooms and just had a little bit of a look around in our rooms, brought our luggage in, that kind of stuff, and then we kind of had a little bit of a look around the ship. I went to buy a can of Pepsi Max for a drink, and it cost €10, which is about $20. So we're like, okay, well, that's not going to be feasible. So we went down and asked about the drinks package, and Mum and Dad and I, we all did that, and we ended up realising that was going to be the better option. Quite expensive though, but we ended up signing up for drinks, just the soft drinks package. So yeah, we were on the cruise for, we left Barcelona that night. We then went, we were on the cruise for a sea day, and then the following day we were in La Galette, Tunisia. Oh yeah. Arrived in La Galette in Africa. After sea day and after leaving Barcelona was to go to La Galette in Tunisia. We got off the ship as the five of us, as I wanted everybody to come to La Galette with us because it was Africa, so everyone's first time in Africa. So when we got off the cruise, we were met by some people just kind of showing off some animals, and Jamie and Mum kind of thought they were pretty cute and wanted to get some photos with them. So we got a photo with the animals, and then they took a photo of us all together as well. We ended up paying them for it. But then we went through the little bit of shops that kind of took us out to the exit, and we walked along, and we'd been told to go out to the main street to get a taxi because it would be cheaper than trying to get a cruise. But we got caught up at the cruise area with taxi people trying to sell us things, and so we ended up going with someone from inside the cruise terminal, and they took us around for the whole day. But we did have a tour booked, so they had to drop us off for this tour, and the tour went for 2.5 hours. And so we went on a tour around La Galette with a guide. Now this guide, he was awesome. He was very knowledgeable, very generous with his money. He bought us stuff, bought us food, took us to this really cool local cafe where kind of locals go, where we got to have a look, which will be in the photos soon. And then he took us down through a market street, just through what it looks like in the markets, and that was amazing. So we walked around with him, got to see what La Galette's like. He told us a lot about Tunisian history, went to a perfume shop. Before this though, we did get into, when we were in the taxi, I forgot to say, the taxi was a 5-seater taxi with the driver, and there was 5 of us, so there was actually 6 people in the taxi, so we had to squeeze in, which was a bit crazy. So Jamie was kind of sitting on our lap in the back, Mum was sitting in the front, and then he was driving us around. So as I said, the tour with our guide, it was awesome. He talked to us about a lot of different things. And then after we finished that tour, we walked back to find the taxi driver. We were running a bit late, so I think he was worried that we were going to skip out on him because we weren't going to pay him till the end. But then he took us up to another area, which was another place they like to show us. We didn't find that as interesting, and we were a bit stressed because we had to get back to the ship. We didn't have much time, and it was getting a bit of a worry, and we were waiting for him for a little while. We're like, oh no, we're not going to get back to the ship. But we got back to the ship, and we had an amazing day in Tunisia. So here are some photos and videos from that. What?
sad because the frog is red.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not red. Like many thousands of people,
Yeah.
and we're still living with our parents. Not because we don't have money to go to live by ourselves, but it's culture. It's like part of our religion
Culture,
to stay with parents, to share
Until
the
you,
expenses
until
of
you,
life, to
right,
support
to help
them.
them to,
Okay, so it's very common to see people doing sacrifice.
He was a perfume shop that he took us to show us cologne and perfumes. And there's some photos with the guys who were in the perfume shop. And then we walked away from that and walked towards the cafe that he took us to. This is the view from the top of the cafe. We had a very good view of La Galette. So I went up first, and then I went down and got Dad and Jamie to come up and look as well. Brett and Mum just kind of stayed down the cafe. That's what the cafe looked like down the bottom.
Colors, you cannot see people or animals representations because it's not allowed in our religion to copy the God creations. That's why everything is decorated with shapes, that it is forever, vegetations or flowers, but never people or animals representation. Wow. Okay? The Islamic art is abstract art. Yes, please, sir. Okay.
Wow. Wow. Look at this.
Well, you'd never find this place, would you?
No way.
And here's a photo of us with the taxi drivers of Tunisia. And then we got back on the ship. So there's Jamie is back on the ship. And then we went to our next port, which was Palermo. Now, this is Palermo in Sicily. Next up, we stopped at Palermo in Sicily. Now, Brett, Jamie and Mum decided to stay on the ship this day. So Dad and I got off and we went on a bit of a tour of Palermo in Sicily. We stopped at a cafe first of all to get some stuff. Dad had to go to the toilet, so we had to use the toilet, and then we thought we'd better buy something there, so we bought some cakes, that kind of stuff. Then we got on a hop-on, hop-off bus, and we got partway along the hop-on, hop-off bus, and then we realised that we wanted to get on the extra hop-on, hop-off bus to go up to the cathedral, I think it was, and to jail, I think. And then we also went to the catacombs that were there were pretty crazy, and this is the bus actually that took us to the catacombs. The catacombs were just had so many skeletons of like people, like it was literally like just going through skeletons and skeletons of people, dead people. It was actually a little bit intimidating, and Dad and I were underground looking at these things. We were like, oh, this is pretty kind of scary. Then we went into this church thing, which is where we are. Oh, no, not a church thing. It was like a some sort of building, and so that's where we are there. And we're kind of like a bit like a town hall-y thing or something. So we went up there and looked kind of out into the view and stuff, then went out to the pub. Then we walked down this street where there was all this fish and seafood kind of sales and stuff, and Dad wanted to grab some of that for like to eat. So he got some stuff from there. I didn't worry about getting stuff because I'm not into seafood or fish, but Dad got a little bit of stuff to take and to try, like some battered kind of different seafood options. I think we might have gone into the bathroom there. Then we continued to walk down that area. Now, we realised after a while, we bought, there's what he ate, what Dad ate, but we realised after a while that we got the ticket for the on a bus, and it actually wasn't that big of an area, so we just started walking around everywhere and walked back to the ship instead of getting back on the hop bus. So we just explored Palermo, Sicily, just by walking around and seeing different things. So there's some of the streets there, but it was a nice day. So we also went to this little cathedral here, got some photos, went up and had a look at what it was like. And then, yeah, so that was our day in Palermo in Sicily. And not long after this photo was taken was when a stress came up for me, because I got this message from the French Rail Corp, that we were catching our fast train from Marseille to Paris, and Paris was the most important part of the trip because that's what I wanted Mum and Dad to see. So I got this message, and I just assumed that because it was sent to me in French, so I didn't kind of know what was going to happen, but sent to me in French, and I just assumed that it was just to say, oh, your trip's coming out soon. Get ready for it. But when I translated it, it was to say that our train had been cancelled due to a strike. And so this was very freaky. So I was trying to change, and it said you can change the ticket time. So I was trying to change the ticket time, so the website wasn't working. The app wasn't working that I had. So then I was trying to call them overseas, and they put me on hold for 10 minutes, and then they just hung up. And so it was just that over and over. And so I was starting to stress because I'm like, we're not going to get from Marseille to Paris. The train is very quick, but if we had to drive or get a hire car, it would have been so much slower. So I was stressing. Ended up getting it sorted eventually, but for the last part of the trip there, I was getting quite stressful, and there's a photo there of a really nice street that we ended up in, and unfortunately I couldn't take good photos of it because I was on the phone trying to get in contact with these rail people and not miss getting off the call waiting. So that was a little bit stressful for the end of that day. Hello, we're on our way to Rome on the train. Getting into Civitavecchia, where we would travel to Rome. Now, it ended up just being Dad, Jamie and I that went to Rome. Mum and Brett stayed on the ship, but I had to take Jamie to see the Colosseum and the Trevi Fountain. A few things happened on this day. So first thing was that the tour company messaged me, and they wanted to do our tour an hour earlier than what we had scheduled, and there wasn't any other option not to do it. So the train was quite stressful because it got us in to Roma Termini, which was 2 stations away from the Colosseum, about half an hour before we were supposed to do this tour, and you were supposed to get there half an hour before. So I'm messaging them going, well, you changed it and we're not going to get there on time. And anyway, so once we got to the right station, the Roma Termini, once we got to the Colosseum station, I was running to try and find where the meeting spot was because it's a bit confusing. So anyway, I ran ahead. ahead, and Dad and Jamie were trying to keep up, and anyway, ran into where I was supposed to meet them to try and get there in time, and Dad and Jamie had no idea where I went, so they were looking for me, a little bit annoyed, but we eventually got there, and then we got our tickets, and then we got into the Colosseum, and I could show Jamie the inside of the Colosseum and the outside of the Colosseum, which we got some photos there. Dad and I had already seen this, obviously, from when we went to Rome in 2017, but it was good to show Jamie this. Now, following the Colosseum, we then went through kind of the ruins outside of the Colosseum, and then we decided we'd catch a little bus to the Trevi Fountain. So we got on a bus, went to the Trevi Fountain. Once we got to the Trevi Fountain, we got some photos at the Trevi Fountain. It was really a nice place to get the photos, and then we decided that we'd go back to a cafe or a little bit back around the corner a bit from the Trevi Fountain, and we had a really nice lunch. So you can see there, Jamie's got some pizza there of what he had, and that was delicious. But then we went back around to the Trevi Fountain. We're like, oh, we'll just get some ice creams.
We'll be able to get around.
So we were like, okay, let's get some ice creams. We saw that they were €6 each, which is about $12. So we were like, okay, well, we can afford that just for the Trevi Fountain. Anyway, so we got our ice creams, and then the guy said that'll be €24 for mine and Jamie's and 12 for Dad's. And we're like, well, what about the €6 that it says? He's like, oh, that's for a different type of cone. You should have told me. So what we should have done, we should have just said, okay, no, we don't want it. But silly us, we were like, okay, and so we paid the money. So €12 is about $24 for an ice cream. So each of us had a $24 ice cream, which was a bit crazy. Okay, so then what we decided to do was we'll just, instead of catching a bus or the metro back to the Rome Termini, we will walk back. And this was Dad's idea, and it was an awesome idea, because walking back through Rome, getting back to the Rome Termini, that was so nice. It was just so nice to explore Rome, just walking through and just seeing all the little different parts as we went back to Rome Termini. So we got back to Rome Termini. We ended up getting back a little bit earlier than what the Civitavecchia train that I had organised was going to be. So we ended up getting another ticket for an earlier train, and then we got back to the cruise a little bit earlier. So that was a really good day. So the last part of the cruise, or the last stop before we got off in Marseille, was to go to Savona. In Savona was a very kind of small place in Italy, to the north of Italy. And so what we decided to do, Mum and Dad got off a little earlier, got on a little small train. It was pretty cold outside, and so they went around on the small train. So then while they were doing that, Brett, Jamie and I, we just kind of walked about around Savona ourselves. It was a pretty nice looking place, but very small and not that much to do. So we just went and got a hot chocolate, went for a little walk around, and then we headed back to the ship and got ready to go to Marseille and to be on the ship for our last night before we got off and caught the train up to Paris. Your car coming? Square's quite nice. Little square.
Ashley, is that like your Volvo?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. Okay, let's get it.
They like to stick. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Oh, you got a parking ticket, that little guy. Yeah, oh dear. There's a kids shop for James. Oh yeah. I didn't think they gave out parking tickets in Italy.
Manual. Manual. Manual, son.
Let's go down here. This is kind of a nice area. Isn't it? A bit cold, James.